Welcome back everyone to our channel. We're glad to have you. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to put new roof rails on these Honda CRVs. If you can get the one straight from Honda, that's great. There's a lot of aftermarket ones you can get on Amazon or eBay. We're using an aftermarket one, but stay tuned. We'll show you how to get it on. So to give you a brief overview of the rails and rack we're using in this episode's upgrade, here you can see on Amazon we bought the rails pretty inexpensively from DNA Motoring. They're a nice set of rails. One of the reasons we like them is because they're all aluminum plastic. There's nothing on it that can rust. That has that nice rubber strip cushion on the top, and we look at the overall picture, they tie in very nicely with the car. And then when we look at the rack, I really like this rack. It's a little expensive, but when you look at how it's got this rust resistant coating and how well it's welded together, as you'll see later on, it's a really good rack. Here you can see the dimensions of it. So to get started, on top of your roof you have these 4 sections where the rails connect. They have a little plate and you can use a screwdriver to pop it off. That exposes the 3 holes that you're going to screw into for your brackets for the roof rack. These holes are already pre-tapped, and they'll come with the screws. The kit that we came with actually didn't even come with screws, so we went to Lowe's and bought them. I'll put in the comments what size these are. But sometimes these holes can get rusted because they get filled with water and stuff. What I would recommend is getting a shop vac or something and suck them out. Take a screw and slowly screw it in and work it in, just to get the threads right again. And we've done that on these, so we're ready to go ahead and bolt our bracket down.
So these are the rails we got. We already screwed the rail into the bracket. This bracket is going to go onto the top of the vehicle through these 3 holes, and so that's going to screw on top. This is a front, so the front's going to be a longer rail. The back is going to be a shorter rail, and so if your if your rail came with included bolts, that's where you're going to put these. Typically on the rail it already had a screw on there, so you just take that screw out and screw it onto the bracket. We'll go ahead and put that up there now. So typically you have this plastic piece covering this portion of the vehicle, but when you take that off, it's open to the elements if you just had this bracket on there. So what we do is the set comes with this rubber gasket of some sort, shield that protects it from rainwater and all that debris. And so you just set it in there, and there's alignment pins on the rubber part to get in those holes. And so then we'll set it down. We'll look from above to line up those screw holes. And it looks like they're lined up right now. And then we'll just screw that on. So I'll go grab the screws real quick. So I went ahead and put those screws in there. You want to thread them in by hand, but I already did that. So once you have them threaded in, you can just screw them on. Make sure you don't want to over torque them. They're just plastic, the bracket is. So you don't want to crack that plastic part, but you also don't want it to fall off. So just put it marginally tight, but just don't over torque it.
So as we mentioned, it's definitely best to pre-tap these before you even try to screw them on individually to get them threads cleared out. I would use some kind of PV blaster and a shop vac just to get it nice and clean. Once you got them all tapped right, you may even have to buy shorter screws, because I've seen a lot of comments. That's what we did. We bought shorter screws because there's so much junk in the bottoms of them that it prevents it from really clamping down. But depending on the kind you get, you'll have to deal with that situation, but it is workable. So what's the next step?
So once you get that bracket screwed in, you just pretty much just slap this top part on and it's all set.
So if you end up having to get your own screws to bolt this thing on, here's what we got. It was the M6-1 by 12 millimeter panhead Phillips stainless. I'd recommend stainless. We also put an M6 lock washer on each one too. That's what the panhead machine screw looks like, 12 millimeter, but they'll fit perfectly inside those holes to mount your bracket. All right, so after we get the rails on, you got the rails up top there, we're gonna go ahead and put a rack. So the rack we got today is from Tiger, got it off of Amazon. We haven't unboxed it yet. We did some research and this looked like the best quality. We like the design of it. Hopefully it looks nice. So let's go ahead and unbox this thing.
So it's halfway assembled. It's like 3 different pieces. And so you gotta do the final assembly, but we're just gonna show you how to do that as well as how to mount it on top of the roof rails. So this roof rack comes with 2 different pieces. You have your front and back, as well as down here. This is the front panel that goes on the windshield basically, and then all your parts. So your mounting brackets and the bolts.
Let's open it up. Let's take a look what's in there.
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like.
So what we got here to connect these 2 parts is you have to pull off these caps. And so there's gonna be a smaller side, and on that side is a thicker side. And the same thing with this one. On opposite sides, it's gonna be a smaller diameter pipe, and on this side it's gonna be a thicker diameter pipe. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these brackets, and on the small side, you can tell there's a small side, and then there's a fatter side right here. And so you're gonna take the smaller side, and you're gonna put it in perpendicular. Just push it in like that, and then the other end is going to be put into this frame.
Gotcha. So these things right here, you don't put them like pointing straight up and down, but
instead
sideways.
of putting it like this, you put it flat like that.
Gotcha. So you do those on 4 of them. Those 2, and then so you got the other 2. Stick them on there. So you need to
Push it in all the way to that bigger flap.
So like these, this is not in far enough. You got to push them in all the way.
Probably use a mallet, but that's good enough. And so on the thicker side, those thicker diameter pipes, you're gonna take off this same rubber grommet, and then you can use like the Allen key included to push it up. Something like that.
So basically have an exposed open so we can insert.
And so once you put these in, you just have to snap these together. So it's just gonna go inside of the larger diameter hole. So you're just gonna push both of them through, get them lined up. Probably go to the other side, do the exact same thing, and get it lined up. And then you can just push it together.
That big. Okay.
So
So you have this hole right here that you can go ahead and now put your, yeah, the M16 in a washer.
So these have rubber washers to prevent water from leaking into that hole, and so that's to prevent rust. Because that's sometimes a problem with these, because they are hollow. If water gets in there, they can start corroding. So this company made sure to include rubber washers to prevent that issue.
You don't want to over torque though, and you'll
Lose that seal.
yeah, you squish that washer too much. Nice. Once you get those 4 screws on, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, we can work on the crossbar. So you can see the quality of this. It's got fully welded connections, and the paint, it's got, if you look on their website, it's got this scratch coat primer,
And you can tell
that's a rust preventative primer that goes on underneath it.
I mean, it doesn't scratch at all.
That's nice. You got your knife going on there. All right.
So we have this crossbar that goes across the front, and you can either mount like the front cover, the windshield, or you can also mount like a light bar or something like that. But when you mount it, you want to make sure you put on this rubber gasket because there's going to be holes. And again, like I said earlier, you don't want any water getting inside these pipes because it could rust, it could cause corrosion. So just make sure that you use all the included hardware, like these rubber gaskets, as well as these rubber washers that come with the screws. So that seals and make sure that there's no rub or water getting into those pipes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. Sometimes they're a little difficult to get on, but just put those on and then stick it through.
Use the Allen wrench, finish it off. Eventually we're going to be putting a lot of light bars or some pod lights on this front. That'll be in a future episode.
Yep. I'm still trying to figure out which pod lights or a light bar. Comment below if you guys think a light bar would look better, or whichever.
Yeah, should we go with the light bar or pod lights? And if we do pod lights, should they be round or square? What's the poll on that? Maybe we'll put a poll on our channel.
Yeah. Alright, this one and that one.
Alright, so it comes with these little brackets to put the plexiglass wind
Visor. And so we just gotta put those on, and while you're doing it, you have 4 or 5 nuts and then bolts, as well as putting your washers on with those rubber washers included.
So you just line it up and screw it on. We're thinking about maybe you could do a custom piece with this. You know, you could
paint it black
and then, you know, put your own emblem. But the Tiger, I like it. When I seen the different varieties out there, you know, I mean, the CRV looks like a big cat anyway.
Something like that.
So one of the reasons I picked this particular one, I mean, there's so many different kind of racks. There's the much taller ones, you know, that are real boxy. You know, that looks great on a Jeep, which is also boxy, but the CRV, it's just so sexy with the curves and stuff. You know, I'm thinking, let's go with something a little more curvy and low profile. I mean, this thing will still hold 150 pounds just like the rest of them out there. But I think this sleeker design, low profile is just gonna look sweet on the CRV. We'll see how it looks when we're done, but let us know what you guys think. All right, we almost finished putting this front cover on, then we'll put these side brackets that cover over this. That's nice. I'm gonna protect that joint.
So this is a little cover that comes with the roof rack. And so basically these two bars on the bottom, there's nothing on top. So there's two holes right here are for that. I'm just gonna line it up, snap it on, clips on like that.
I like that.
Same thing with that side. And it just covers up all that bolt and that gap. Makes it look like a one piece.
All right, so it's pretty much fully assembled now. Now we gotta put the brackets to go on the roof rails. So the best thing to do is get it up on there, give you an idea of where the brackets go on.
Where you want it to sit and that type of thing.
So you wanna make sure when you get it on there that it's lined up even, you know, centered and not catty corner.
Well, we'll show that in a second.
So let's get it up there. So we got it up here, and you want about 10.5 inches from the center line of the back pipe to the center line of the back rail. That'll give you 10.5 inches here and 10.5 inches from the front. Now, one thing we noticed, the width of this is wide. It's so wide that it actually hits this top rail part. So we did not anticipate that. So what we're gonna have to do is raise up the bracket so that it gets this slightly off and does not touch these end plastic. You do not want this metal touching this plastic.
Or resting.
So we're gonna show you how to do that. So if you end up going with this type of rack, you're gonna have to do this. So what we're going to use is this interlocking traffic mat. It's a high density rubber, and this is the bracket that goes up there. This clamps onto your rail, and so we're going to use that to be a spacer to lift the entire rack up. We're going to use this material to do that. So we're going to go ahead and use this as a template and cut us a few pieces of this matting. You can buy this stuff at Home Depot. It doesn't have to be perfect. So this is going to give you a nice cushion and lift it at the same time. You can see it's very thick, high density. I do not think one is going to be enough. We're probably going to have to do two. The screws that come with this do have extra length, so we should be okay. All right, so you can see a double thickness gives us quite a bit of height. So we got to get our screws through there. So we're going to pre-drill holes through the rubber. Now we can stick our screws through that. So let's get this mounted up there and see how it looks. All right, so we're ready to put this on. What we did is we put the two layers under and then pop the two screws through the rubber part. So now all we need to do is connect the bracket to the bottom. The screw comes down into the hole. Now, it comes with a special Allen wrench because these are torque screws. They have a pin in the top of the heads, and this special Allen wrench they give you right here has a hole, so that way nobody can steal this from you unless they have a special tool. They can't use a regular Allen wrench, so that's a nice feature. All right, so you line the screws up with the holes. These screws are long enough to go ahead and put this double layer. Now if you want to use a single layer of rubber, you need to get at least a 1-inch thick high density rubber
or foam composite.
Some kind of foam composite that's 1 inch, and we might go ahead and replace that with something that's a single thickness once we find it, but this is all we could find quickly locally. We might order something, but all you do is screw these down. I wouldn't screw them all the way down, just get them started and then do your final adjustments left and right and front to back. And once you have this thing bolted down, you are pretty much good. So let's get that finished and then we'll give you a final look. All right, so there she is. She looks really good. I love that low profile look. It's very secure. It is not coming off. You can see the whole car shakes. It still leaves a gap above these bar brackets. Those spacers that we put on. We probably will switch them out to something else later on. But as you can see from the front, I love how it gives it the tapered look that follows the taper of the vehicle angling in. But it turned out beautiful. Anyway, we're gonna put lights up there. Put a comment what you think we should put, a light bar, pod lights, square around. We'll do that on a future episode. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Talk to you later.
Yeah, it's all-wheel drive.